we are going to look at the question, how did the first people get to America? Before we do that, there are some vocabulary words that you need to define on your note paper. You will be responsible for these words and to know their definitions in our next class. You can use a dictionary or a website to get these definitions. Use the pause button to stop the movie while you are writing down the definitions on your note sheet. On your paper, write the definition of the word artifacts. Use the pause button to stop the movie, and then when you are done writing the definition, hit play. On your paper, write the definition of the initials DNA. DNA stands for this very long and difficult to pronounce word, but most everybody calls it just DNA. What is DNA? Write the definition down on your paper. Use the pause button to stop the movie while you were writing your definition down. Hit the play button to resume the movie. On your paper, write the definition of the word theory. Hit the pause button to pause the movie while you are finding and writing the definition. Hit the play button when you're ready to proceed. This is a video that shows how the continents on Earth have bounced around for hundreds of millions of years. This is called plate tectonics. And you will learn much more about this in Earth Science class in 8th or 9th grade. Starting at about 272 million years ago, a supercontinent called Pangaea formed. The continents continued to bounce around until about 10 million years ago, when they arrived at their present location. Another 9.5 million years went by before the first humans evolved in this portion of Africa. But as you can see, Africa, Europe, and Asia are separate from North America and South America by the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. And remember, this is the globe, so it goes all the way around. So that's the Pacific. So the question remains, how did humans get from Africa to America? Here are some facts. The first human remains are found in Africa, at this location here, and they are about 60,000 years old. The oldest human remains found in Asia are 24,000 years old. The oldest human artifacts found in America are 14,500 years old, and they were actually found down in the southern part of South America. DNA from the oldest human remains found in America, oldest human remains were found right there in America, match the DNA from humans in Asia, which proves the first humans in America came from Asia. The question is, how did Asians cross the largest ocean on Earth, the Pacific, to get to America? Those are the facts. Now, archaeologists, geneticists, geographers, biologists, and many other types of scientists have theories to answer this question. Miss McLaren will review the most widely believed theory with you right now. Please follow along with the reading on your note sheet as you listen to the soothing voice of Miss McLaren.
Roots of the first Americans. During the Ice Age, so much water was frozen in glaciers that sea levels dropped. Parts of the ocean floor were exposed as dry land. One area of exposed ocean floor formed a huge land bridge between Asia and North America, which was named Beringia. The first Americans were hunter-gatherers who hunted animals and gathered naturally growing plants. These hunter-gatherers crossed this land bridge as they began migrating, moving from Asia some 30,000 years ago, following the animals they depended on for food. About 12,000 years ago, the Earth's climate grew warmer and the glaciers started to melt. This water flowed back into the oceans, bringing them to their present levels. The land bridge was once again underwater and people could no longer cross from Asia. About 10,000 years ago, the Ice Age ended and North and South America became isolated from the Eurasian land mass and had to discover the agricultural revolution, humans planting seeds to grow food on their own.
As you probably noticed, you were reading and listening to Miss McLaren, there was a animation underneath where the reading was on the screen. This is a close-up of that animation, and it shows the theory of Beringia. It shows how Asia at one point in time was physically connected to North America. And this is how it starts off. The water level of the oceans is much lower because of the Ice Age, and you could walk across there. And as this animation goes along, you can see the ice glaciers are melting, the water turns back into liquid, and it fills up the oceans. It covers up that land bridge. I just wanted to show you a couple of quick pictures that also illustrate this theory. You have Asia over here with the part of it in North Asia called Siberia. This is the land bridge, as you can see right here. The northern part of Asia and North America are covered with glaciers due to the Ice Age. Idea being, this is where the water from the oceans was being sucked up into these glaciers. It was not melting and refilling the oceans. It was staying here as a solid. All right. And as you can see from the arrows here, that is the theory that there were some very, very big alleyways in these huge hunks of ice that would allow animals to come through, and then the humans that were chasing and eating the animals. So this is the theory of Beringia. Last picture kind of pulls everything all together that we've talked about, which is why I like 60,000 years ago there were humans in Africa. Are they the very absolute first humans? As far as we know now, yes. But remember, this is archaeology. You're finding artifacts. You're finding clues like a detective. Do we have all the clues? Have we searched everywhere on the whole planet? No. So that's something that we're still working on. But all of the oldest human artifacts have been found in this particular area of Africa. And as you can see from the arrows, some of those humans walked up into what is now Europe and became Europeans. Some of those humans obviously stayed in Africa, but that was pretty obvious. Some of those humans walked to Asia and became Asians. And the ones that we're focusing on are the humans that walked into Asia, and we know that they were there about 24,000 years ago, and they were the ones that were interested in maybe coming across Beringia, and this is what we've been focusing on here. This would have been dry land, and as you can see from the purple dots, the theory of how Asians got to America is illustrated here. Again, some facts. The oldest human remains ever found in America, the body of a small child. The DNA evidence proves that this kid right here shared DNA with people from Asia. So that's why we think first Americans were Asians. I would like you to watch the movie coming up here that kind of pulls everything that we've talked about together, and you get some really expert opinions and information in there from actual archaeologists that are dealing with this question, with these theories.
Climatologist Dr. Peter Clark studies the most recognizable feature of the Ice Age: glaciers.
We're on the slopes of Mount Hood. top of Mount Hood is about 11,000 feet, which puts it over 2 miles high. At the peak of the last ice age, the ice sheets that covered North America, for example, were over 1 mile higher than Mount Hood and extended at that elevation all the way from the west coast of Canada east to New England.
Scientists believe that at the start of the Ice Age, several different glaciers form in the mountains of northern Canada. After thousands of years, these great walls of ice merge and advance as one. Scientists call it the Laurentide Ice Sheet, named for the Laurentian mountains that it engulfs. A glacier like the Laurentide Ice Sheet is supercompacted snow. As the snow accumulates, it becomes denser and denser until it becomes ice. If the summers are cool, then the ice does not melt. As more and more snow accumulates, glaciers like the Laurentide Ice Sheet begin to move under their own weight.
The southern margin of this large ice sheet started to advance southwards towards the U.S. And initially the margin was a pretty continuous, sort of long curved margin that was advancing slowly downwards. But then once it got into the Great Lakes region, the ice started to advance in the Great Lakes as these lobes of ice.
Each lobe of ice travels at different speeds, depending on local weather and conditions on the surface. This is how far the Laurentide Ice Sheet advances. Soon, however, the Earth begins to warm and the glaciers begin to recede. During this warming period, humans and megafauna take advantage of a flourishing ecosystem. Soon it will be time for the Paleo-Indians to move on.
You don't stay in one place too long when you're a hunter-gatherer, because if you do stay in one place too long, you hunt out all the animals, you've gathered up all the plants, it's time to move.
The archaeological record supports this high frequency of movement. Paleo-Indian projectile points are also known as Clovis points, named for Clovis, New Mexico, where they were first discovered. These points are found across the continent, from the Channel Islands in California, where the oldest human remains are discovered, to the East Coast, along the shores of the Delmarva Peninsula, the landmass that makes up parts of Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. In fact, more Clovis points have been discovered on the East Coast than anywhere else in the country. Many are found here, along the shores of the Chesapeake Bay.
When most people think of Paleo-Indians and Clovis period, they think of the Southwest, but they do not think of the Chesapeake Bay region. But there are more Clovis sites here in the Chesapeake Bay region than the entire state of New Mexico.
There's over 400 Clovis sites here within 100 miles of Washington, D.C. There's only probably a couple dozen in all of the Rocky Mountain West. So where's the center of activity? It's on the East Coast.
Traditionally, scientists have believed that prehistoric humans arrived in North America by crossing the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia. Due to lower sea levels, the land between the two continents, known as Beringia, is exposed during the last ice age. Around 10,000 BC, scientists believe the glaciers that had been covering Canada begin to melt and an ice-free corridor opens, allowing humans to pass through Canada into the southern parts of the continent.
Now that you're done with the movie, I would like you to answer these questions on your note sheet. Please be prepared for a quiz in our next class that might have these same or very similar questions on that quiz, as well as the vocabulary from the beginning of this lesson. Question number 1. Base your answers for all of these questions, 1 through 4, on the map and your knowledge of social studies. So some of the questions will come directly from the map. Some of these questions will come from what we've talked about in this lesson. First one, number 1. This map illustrates the, so it's this map here. Take a good look at it, all of it. If you need to pause, do that too. It's better to stop and go slow and get it right than to rush and get it wrong. Now let's do our proper multiple choice test skills. Let's practice that. Let's read all of the choices. Choice A, Columbian exchange of plants and animals. So does this map show you the Columbian exchange of plants and animals? B, movement of early people from Asia. Does this map show you the early people's movement from Asia? C, settlement of Europeans in the Americas. Does this map show you Europeans settling in America? D, the extent of the Mayan Empire. Does this map show you the Mayan Empire? What you'd want to do is cross out some of these ones that you know are wrong, and then go back and figure out which ones it can be. Press pause to answer this question on your sheet. Press play to go on to the next question. Question 2. According to the theory on which this map is based, nomadic hunters followed migration routes from Asia to which 2 continents? So it's asking, nomadic hunters came from Asia and followed the animals that they were hunting to which 2 continents? Please write the answer down on your note sheet in complete sentences. Correct spelling, please. Everything that you really need is spelled out on this map and in this question. Press pause to answer the question. Press play when you're done. Question 3. According to this map, which geographic feature probably allowed hunters to migrate? So which geographic feature allowed the hunters to migrate from Asia to here? Press pause to write your answer in a complete sentence on your note sheet. Press play when you're ready to go to our final question. Question 4. Why did nomadic hunters migrate all over America? So maybe not necessarily directly related to the map, but as you can see, nomadic hunters from Asia, nomadic, so they are moving, and they're hunters, so they're eating meat that's walking around. Why did they migrate all over North America and South America? Why didn't they just stay in one place the way we stay in one place? You know, Spencerport. Write the answer on your note sheet in a complete sentence or sentences. Press pause to get that done, and press play to continue on. You have completed the lesson on beringia. Please review all of your answers, that make sure that they are the best that they can possibly be and that you know them, because you will be quizzed on them in Mr. Deserto's class, at least, when you come in for our next class. So please make sure you know these answers, the vocabulary, the answers to these 4 questions, that you know all of these things. What we will then do in class is kind of continue on with some other facts that don't necessarily fit with this theory of beringia. There's some other facts out there. We're going to look at them in class. So we still have some questions.